Hi guys, I haven't done a stream for a while. I'm still in the process of renovating a new house. So there's nothing really exciting, nothing really interesting that I've seen at the moment. There's nothing to make me want to jump into the market. I've stayed away from it and yeah, kind of happy with current kind of position, situation, and nothing's really changed for me. So I'm just going to give a little bit of an update if you guys haven't seen some of the last streams, if you're not following along or you're not already a subscriber. So guys, I think to start with, right, there's a couple of things that if you're following social media, especially, you've really got to come to understand what these influencers are attempting to do. You've got people like Sailor that have just bought a very nominal amount of Bitcoin in the grand scheme of things, right? Now, obviously, if you're doubling down on your investment, you would assume that when the price is half or even a third of what he was buying at, you would have gone in kind of guns blazing at these kind of prices, right? If you believe in it this much. To top it off, the guy's just gone on with MMC crypto, and it just makes a mockery of the situation, right? He's probably clutching at straws, trying to get the message out there any which way he can, right? You've then got people like MMC themselves that are just idiotic, right? They just affiliate links is the only thing they care about, right? On top of that, it's watch my video, like and subscribe, sign up for this, get your Bybit link sorted, and in essence, they're making their money from YouTube views and Bybit affiliate link clicks, right? You then have people like Plan B. Now, a lot of people will say to me, "Oh, Plan B this and Plan B that." The guy was calling for 92K last April, right? We didn't get it even this April. It's a year down the line. We've come into November, the same thing again. 98 was called. December was 135 or 130 something, and that was back December just gone, right? So we're 6 months on, 7 months on from that as a situation. The guy was over 100K out, right? That to me doesn't give any confidence. Now, obviously, I've been blocked by a lot of these influencers, Moon Carl, MMC, Plan B, because I've just told them as it is, right? Now, one of the things that I had sent to me a couple of days back was this about Plan B. And in essence, it was again the Bybit link, right? This guy's going to do an article on the Bybit link, in essence, right? So he clearly isn't making money trading. And therefore, you've got to understand if you're following influencers, you're going to get burnt, right? That's the main message in terms of this particular video, right? Now, coming back to the charts, you've really got to start to understand where we are, not so much in the cycle, but where we are in the bigger picture, right? Now, I've talked about techniques that are 100 plus years old, right? Now, the way that I like to do it, a lot of people say to me, oh, they're outdated, or they're this, that, and the other. The trick is, guys, if something has lasted 100 years, it's going to be still around, potentially another 100 years, okay? The reason that some of these methods work is mainly due to human psychology, right? So you don't need indicators, you don't need, magic tools, there's no on-chain analysis. A lot of the problem with all of those such things, right? On-chain, certain types of indicators are lagging, and on-chain data is easy to manipulate, right? Especially when you're dealing with guys with billions, if not trillions of dollars at their disposal, all of the time in the world, right? And the ability to see through what is on chain. Okay. So you'll see, walls being built and then they kind of taken away and pulled apart because these quant computers can actually pull these orders in nanoseconds. Okay. And a lot of the money that's made by quant type trading these days are actually made more to do with the spread, quick in, quick out, rather than a directional bias. Okay. So you have to understand a little bit of all of this to appreciate why things like Elliott Wave, why Wyckoff, it's not so much a guarantee, right? That's not the point. There's no guarantee in any form of trading. What you need to understand is where Composite Man will operate, why they will operate at kind of key levels, and where these key levels are in, again, the larger picture. Okay, so I've talked about this recently. One of the things I posted out to subscribers was talking about this on the 30th, right, to the end of the month, was we sat under the invalidation level for the monthly, right? Now, on the chart, you'll see the invalidation level for the monthly was actually, I'm going to put the magnet on this, right, was actually the previous one, right? 0 to 1. Okay. So we sat underneath this invalidation level. Now, if you are out and out Elliott wave trading, right, and you're just an Elliottian as a whole, you're kind of ignoring everything else, this would actually invalidate the whole move. Okay. And that's something that not so much Composite Man is looking for Elliott wave. I don't mean it like that. What he's actually looking at is the key value area to kind of test the water, right? How many buyers, how many sellers, what's the sentiment of the retail like at the moment, okay? Now, a lot of this with things like on-chain data, Twitter, people like Sailor going on, kind of clown chat shows with MMC. It just goes to show what the sentiment of the masses, the sheep, is actually like, okay? And as a professional trader, these are all things that you can use, but you don't really need to dig too deep, right? Often less is more. Okay. So we've come back down to this invalidation level. We've kind of danced around this. And as you can see, we're not really breaking it impulsively, and we're not bouncing off it impulsively either. Okay. So we've got cause for bigger picture sentiment being bullish crypto. I don't see Bitcoin kind of dying a death anytime soon. Okay, there's a lot more to it. I think Bitcoin, even if other shit coins will fall off the map, I think Bitcoin will probably come through. You've got XRP, another one. I think Ethereum, it's a bit wishy-washy, right? I think for me, what I like with XRP is banks are using it, and these guys control the world, right? You've got over 300 clients now using Ripple/XRP in some way, shape, or form. There's a lot of support adoption. I think the whole SEC aspect of it has gone really quiet, and therefore some kind of settlement or some kind of I don't know, just kind of completion to it will actually kind of give it a green field opportunity out the other side, okay? Because it'll know where it sits. Now, in terms of Bitcoin, I think Bitcoin's kind of too big to really fall over. I think Ethereum, maybe it's more of a hobbyist type coin/currency/crypto, whatever you want to call it. I think it's something that started off with good intentions. And when you look at things like NFTs and you go down that route as a whole, the problem being is that what it was designed to do was to reduce cost, cut out the middleman. It's actually almost done the complete opposite. They've added middlemen to middlemen for middlemen's sake, and the costs have gone astronomical. Right? It'll cost you $1,000 to send $100, from wallet to wallet at some stages. Right? It's ridiculous. So I don't see much in terms of larger scale intent, right? Now, we've had this conversation. I'm just going to finish off. I'll come back to this one with the NFTs. So, what I was talking about at the end of the month, right, was we would see a jump up at the end of the month and a close above that kind of level at the 19.8, right? Now, as you can see, we basically got that, right? We had the close above. We didn't really dance around much further than that. And we actually got our monthly close. Sorry, it's the wrong chart. Actually got our monthly close that actually didn't close below the invalidation level, right? So that for me shows intent of Composite Man is testing the water throughout this current phase, right? So I don't believe crypto is dead. I don't believe Bitcoin is about to die. I think there's a little bit more to it, and you have to, like I said, understand, the logic behind all of this, right? So ignoring the influences, understanding the sentiment, knowing where we are in terms of a directional bias, right? That's the only reason you really need to use Elliott wave. It's not to kind of calculate every major swing and every minor swing. You just want to get an overall bias as to why we are where we think we are. Okay. Now, if I look at this in terms of a chart, there are definitely a couple of options, right? You could argue that we've had an A, a B, and a C, right? Which means we're in some kind of an accumulation phase, right? Now, I still personally like another version of this, which is basically all the way down for an A, right? We've got a three-wave move there. We're likely to get a pullback B, right? And then back down for a C, even if we only create another type of double bottom here and here, okay? So that's what I like at the moment, right? And I've liked this for a couple of months. This has been probably my preferred option. Now, would I say it's probably safe if you were buying without leverage, and especially not on a Bybit link by one of these influencers, right? I think ultimately, if you were buying at spot, I think you've got a safe opportunity here in terms of taking this either, all the way up to new all-time highs, right? If this is indeed the C, or the accumulation for a B means you'll have a nice little rally there. I'd probably take profits, or at least partial profits, at these kinds of levels once we come up back into the zone, and then basically buy again on a pullback before taking that to the B, right? Now, at this point, I'd probably look at just, again, partial profits, moving the stop loss, trailing that as you go up. And if this was the C, you've got a good entry overall. If this is only the A, you've got another opportunity, which will kind of present itself as it did last August when the price was moving on up. And I guess you could see the truncation happen, kind of months in advance. I think it was November we had the drop. August, it was kind of clear and transparent that we were only going to get back up to the 60 kind of K region. And therefore, I think if this is B, you'll kind of know when you get there. Okay. And obviously, we'll do streams and cover things, with what Paul's doing daily and what I'll put out there as well. So, I guess in the grand scheme of things, guys, right, my opinion, hasn't changed for nearly a year now, probably over a year actually. I think overall we've had our truncated five. This is clearly the monthly four for me. It's kind of holding its own. It's come down to the invalidation level, kind of dancing around that level, which, like I said, is just composite man kind of playing the game. Okay. Now, from there, the next kind of piece of this, right, is if you look at what we're actually looking at, next kind of picture, and as I said, with the NFTs and, Ethereum and so on as a whole, is you got to understand why, I guess, right? Why Composite Man is wanting to do what Composite Man does, right? Now, the one thing that's really useful for me on this is the COT data, right? We've got COT data printed every week, right? It's actually recorded on a Tuesday and announced on a Friday. For us, obviously UK based, French based, it's actually Friday night for us, right? So it's probably Friday afternoon for you guys in the States. So what you have to look at is two things, right? We've got massive positions still short for Bitcoin, right? Which for me would suggest the Composite Man is not done with yet the profit taking phase, right? And when I say profit taking phase, it's profit taking and accumulation, right? So leverage funds are not yet fully long, okay? We then have, wrong chart. We then have, from an Ethereum situation, right? We have asset managers, right? Which are slightly different to leverage funds. I'm not going to go into that in this video, right? This is one of the things that we teach and one of the things we push out in terms of Discord. But the one thing for me that's almost scary with Ethereum is that these guys are almost exclusively short, right? And this is really the longer term picture. So what kind of worries me for kind of altcoins in general is that you have a scenario with the SEC with Ripple. And I think, one way or the other, Ripple will have clarity the other side, right? Regardless of what dent it makes, it'll have clarity. I think Bitcoin, you've just had, Gary talk about this being, a commodity. Okay. So there's probably a future in terms of Bitcoin, and there's probably a future in something like XRP. There's probably other coins out there that are going to make their way through kind of the filter. But I think the one thing that is concerning for me is the asset managers, the big players in this game, are still net short in terms of Ethereum. Okay. Now, if you look at the big picture for Bitcoin, all right, let me see if I can find what we're looking for on this. I want the Bitcoin chart. Here we go. So we've got asset managers, right? Now, asset manager long position would actually suggest that there is a future that these guys are seeing, right? Now, these guys will spend millions of pounds on research, development. They're using quants, they're using, the latest and greatest in terms of tech. And these guys can hold positions for a very, very long time. Okay. A lot of people come to me and say things like, oh, asset managers, they're getting screwed right now in terms of they're all long and this is dropping down. It's these guys that are selling the positions out, right, in terms of leverage funds. And on the asset manager side, they've probably bought in at $500, $4 grand, $5 grand in the grand scheme of things, right? And if this drops down to 10 grand, they're still positive in positions. If they're not, they will dollar cost average down and buy again. Okay. So for me, I'm seeing asset managers as the future. I'm seeing leverage funds still short right now, which means the overall move down hasn't finished. Okay. Now, I'm not saying it needs to go down to 12, right? That would completely screw up in terms of an Elliott bias. But in essence, there's nothing stopping us accumulating around this kind of 19, $20,000 position right now, taking this up to a B, and then coming back down around, 17, 18, 19 again, maybe even a little bit higher, 21, 23 are kind of key areas here. And therefore, with the assumption that we could go down to 12, I think Composite Man's whole game right now is to confuse retail every which way they can, almost into the fear of uncertainty in terms of this market condition, right? They don't want people thinking, hey, this is about to go to 100K if they're still buying, but they don't want people thinking, hey, market's dead if they're still unloading their position in terms of the profit taking cycle itself. Okay. So just keep that in mind in terms of where we are, right? So I'm just going to kind of recap really. In this current situation, I think we're now accumulating a position, very likely for a B, back down for a C, potential double bottom, and then I think we get our new, all-time highs or wherever we go, right? I think, if you're willing to put a bit of patience into this and willing to learn rather than just following blindly people calling for 100K because, it's at 50 and it's only half of 100, it's kind of common sense. Guys, there's a reason, this is not doing what these influencers wanted to do. But as long as you're using their Bybit link, they don't give a shit. And I think this is the problem with the market right now. So just take a step back, still kind of hold on. It's a little bit patience that you need. This is kind of what's required right now in the market as a whole. Just be patient. Just wait on this. Accumulate if you buy in spot. If you leverage, I wait for confirmation. If I'm honest, I think that's the main thing. Just wait for confirmation, right? Or buy spot when you're comfortable in terms of the situation. Okay, that's where I think we are. That's what I think you need to look at, and this is where we are right now. So I'm going to end the stream where we are, and thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers, guys.